Hi students, hi everyone. My name is Fabiola Alamilla Martínez. I'm teaching here in Escuela Superior Actopan in high school. Well, nice to meet all of you and welcome to this lesson. Well, our main topic of today is what's happening to our environment. Well, today we're gonna talk about all the problems that we have in our environment and the possible solutions or possible actions that we may do to protect our world. Let's start this lesson talking about and referring what does the environment mean. Well, an environment, it is, and it can be defined as all the living and non-living elements that their effects that influence in our human life. So that means that all the things that surround us, it is our environment. So we may identify two important elements. The first one, it is living things. All the living things are people, animals, plants. So all the things which have life. And also we can identify another element that is non-living things, in which we can include air, water, sunlight, soil, rocks, and land. So those are the things that compound all our environment. So we may say that all the surrounding around us, it is our environment, right? So we are going to continue identifying some vocabulary mainly used when we're talking about environment and environment problems. So let's check the following vocabulary. The number one is pollution. You already know that we have a lot of pollution condition that affects our environment. A global warming, it is a high temperature in our world that affects the higher temperature. And also the greenhouse effect that, well, it could affect us in our life. It is not too bad, but we need to be very careful with the toxic gases that are in the atmosphere. So we have also fossil fuels, garbage. Garbage is all the waste that we don't use anymore. Glacier melting are, well, it is the effect when the ice from the poles change from solid to liquid. So it transforms and changes into water. Well, we have some other vocabulary in which will help us to identify the problems, but also the solution that we may do or that we can do to protect our environment. So we have reduce, reuse, and recycle, eco-friendly actions, renewable resources. We have some devices that help us to protect our environment, like solar panels, energy-saving light bulbs, and solar water heater. So all devices are very common nowadays, and people should use a lot in their houses. Well, with this topic, students, we are going to identify two structures. The first one, it is appearing in the first part of the box, and it says, what's happening to our environment? We're going to identify some problems. So let's check. Burning fuels are affecting the atmosphere, that's for sure. A layer of toxic gases is hitting the earth. The ice caps are melting. Sea levels are rising. Deserts are growing. Air pollution is causing health problems. Wildlife is losing its habitat. Look at these examples, students, and we're going to notice that the action ends with something important, with a certain ending, ing. Why are we adding this ending? Well, because we're referring the action that are happening in this moment, right? So when we want to express something that is occurring, happening at this moment, we need to add the ing at the end of the verb. But also before the the verb, we need to use the verb to be. So it depends the subject we are using, depends the subject of verb to be also that we are using. So for example, in here, are, we're using are because the subject, it is in plural. Burning fossil fuels are affecting the atmosphere. In the other case, a layer of toxic gases, a layer is something in singular, so we're gonna use the verb to be is hitting the earth. The ice caps, it is in plural, so we're gonna use the word are, the verb to be are. In the other side of the chart, we will have the possible solution. When we want to give an opinion or when we want to advise someone to do certain things we think are good for us, we may use the word should. So let's check the examples. People should use public transport. You see, we're using should. All factories should use renewable resources. Now, in the other case, if we want to negate or say that something that is not good to do, we may use the word shouldn't. So for example, people shouldn't waste a lot of water at home. So we have more examples. We should plant more trees in the forest. We should reuse, recycle, and reuse to protect our environment. People should use energy-saving light bulbs. Okay, well, let's go and check about the mainly structure. So I want you to look at this example. The ice caps are melting. As I was telling you, it is very important to identify the verb to be we're going to use. So in this case, it's are, right? Because remember, we are using a plural subject. In this case, we need to remember that with a subject, we, they, and we are going to use are, right? And at the end of the verb, we will use ing, in this case, melting, right? And remember that we are using this structure with all the things that are happening at this moment, right? So we have in the other side another example. Air pollution is causing health problems. We will use the verb to be is because it is a subject that is in singular, air pollution. So we may say that it's talking about it. So that's why we're going to use is. And we have the last example. People are using energy-saving light bulbs. People is in plural. It is almost the same if we're saying we are, you are, they are using. Remember that all the verbs that we want to express that something is happening at this moment, we need to add ing. In some occasions, we need to switch or move or remove the letter E. So for example, cause and use end in letter E, so it changed with ing, okay? So what about the questions? Well, the questions are very similar to the affirmative, but we need to switch the verb to be at the beginning of the question to make a sentence. For sure, don't forget to write a question mark at the end of the sentence to make a question. So in here, for example, the verb to be are you using? We follow the same rule, adding ing. If we want to get more information about a certain question, we should add a question word. For example, in this case, what, where, how much, how many, when, right? So as in the example, what actions? So we are asking for more information and maybe the interviewer give us more details about this question. What actions are you doing to protect the environment? So at the beginning of the question, we need to add WH question to get more information. Now we're gonna review how to give advice. Advice is when you give an opinion to someone about what they should or shouldn't do. So in this case, if it is good to do a certain things, we may use should, But if we think it is not good to do that thing, we may use shouldn't. So in this case, we are going to use all the subject with the word should or shouldn't. Okay. Well, we have the following example. People should use energy-saving light bulbs. We should plant more trees to protect our environment, but if we think it is not good to do certain things, so we may use people shouldn't waste a lot of water at home. I want you to think about the following questions, students, and you can share your opinions with your classmates or your teacher. So they say, what negative changes are happening in your environment or your hometown? Are you using any great option to protect our environment? Are you doing your part now to create our future for you and others? What action are you doing to protect the environment? These questions may help you to identify your own point of view. Well, that's it. This is the whole explanation. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much. See you in another occasion. Thank you. Bye bye.
Este video es presentado por el Sistema Ciencia Garza Educativa de la Universidad Autónoma del Estado de Hidalgo.